What if I told you there are 5 powerful foods that can literally rewind the age of your brain, and science backs it? Every single day, your brain is either getting stronger or slowly slipping away. But new research has revealed 5 incredible foods that don't just protect your mind. They may actually reverse brain aging. If you want clarity, sharpness, and emotional peace, what you eat might just be the miracle you've been praying for. If you've ever felt the fear of forgetting names, losing your focus, or watching someone you love struggle with memory, then this channel is for you. You are not powerless. You are not destined to decline. You were born with a mind built for greatness, and I'm here to help you heal it. Subscribe now, not just for yourself, but for the people who need the best version of you. Let's grow younger, together. Blueberries. The brain's natural shield. What if healing your brain didn't start with a pill, but with something so simple, so natural, that it fits in the palm of your hand? What if the answer to sharper memory, clearer thinking, and emotional peace came in the form of a humble berry? Often overlooked on grocery store shelves and breakfast plates, science has a word for it: neuroprotective. And nature has a name for it: blueberry. There's something extraordinary about this small fruit. On the outside, it may seem insignificant, just another item in a colorful produce aisle, but beneath its vibrant skin is a complex symphony of antioxidants, bioactive compounds, and natural intelligence that speaks directly to your nervous system. This isn't just food. This is medicine designed by the earth itself. And when you consume it with intention, with reverence, and with the awareness that what you eat becomes who you are, transformation begins. The brain is the most miraculous organ we possess. It houses every memory, every spark of joy, every painful lesson, and every dream that has ever fluttered across your consciousness. But here's the truth. As powerful as the brain is, it's also vulnerable to stress, to time, to inflammation, to the thousands of tiny assaults it faces every single day, from the environment, from poor food choices, and even from our own thoughts. One of the most silent and dangerous enemies to the brain is oxidative stress. It sounds harmless, it even sounds scientific enough to ignore. But oxidative stress is what happens when harmful molecules called free radicals begin to damage your brain cells faster than your body can repair them. Over time, this invisible damage becomes very visible. Memory loss, mental fatigue, emotional instability, anxiety, depression, and yes, the early signs of dementia. But the beautiful truth is this: you are not defenseless. You are not sentenced to decline. You are not genetically doomed to suffer simply because it runs in the family. Every bite you take is a message to your body. Every bite is a command to your cells. And the message blueberries send is powerful and clear. Protect the brain, heal the damage, sharpen the mind, restore the light. Blueberries are rich in a class of antioxidants called anthocyanins, the very compounds that give them their deep blue and purple hues. These antioxidants don't just float around in your bloodstream. They cross the sacred barrier that protects your brain, the blood-brain barrier. This is a highly selective gatekeeper that allows only certain substances into your brain's delicate environment. And anthocyanins make the cut. They're allowed in because they are trusted, they are needed. Once inside, these antioxidants go to work like skilled surgeons. They hunt down free radicals. They cool inflammation. They support the repair of damaged neurons. And most miraculously, they promote the growth of new connections, synapses that help you think faster, remember more, and experience the world with vibrant clarity. Imagine that, a fruit that helps you build new brain cells. This is not fantasy, this is science. Researchers have found that older adults who consume just 1 cup of blueberries per day saw significant improvements in memory and executive function. Children who drank blueberry juice showed faster recall and better focus in school. Even patients with mild cognitive impairment experienced sharper cognition and improved mood after introducing blueberries into their daily diet. Why? Because the brain, even when damaged, wants to heal. It just needs the right tools, and blueberries are one of nature's finest. But let's step beyond the laboratory for a moment. Let's speak from the heart. How many of us have watched someone we love slowly lose themselves to memory loss? How many of us have struggled with forgetfulness, foggy thinking, or the frustration of knowing that something inside just isn't firing the way it used to? You are not alone. And more importantly, you are not powerless. The foods you choose can either accelerate the aging of your brain or slow it down. And some foods, like blueberries, can do something even more miraculous. They can reverse it. That's right, reverse. Studies suggest that blueberries don't just protect you from future damage, they can help undo the damage that's already been done. Neuroscientists often describe the brain as plastic, not in the way we think of plastic objects, but in its ability to change, adapt, and rewire itself. This is known as neuroplasticity, and blueberries are like the fuel that feeds this fire of regeneration. They ignite the production of brain-derived neurotrophic factor, BDNF, a protein often called miracle grow for the brain. BDNF is responsible for creating new brain cells, repairing damaged ones, and supporting emotional resilience. And the more BDNF you have, the younger your brain becomes. Let that sink in for a moment. A simple food, something you can eat today, right now, can increase the levels of a molecule in your body that helps you grow a younger brain. That's not just inspiring, that's life-changing. But healing is not just physical. It's emotional, it's spiritual, and food is sacred. When you eat something that's good for your brain, you're not just nourishing your body, you're making a declaration: I am worth healing. My mind is worth protecting. My future is worth investing in. And when you make that choice daily, something profound happens. Your confidence returns, your creativity reawakens, your peace expands. Now imagine this. You wake up one morning and feel mentally clear. You remember your dreams, your thoughts are sharp, you feel motivated, focused, and energized. You sit with your loved ones and laugh, not just from your mouth but from the depth of your soul, because your memories are intact, your emotions are balanced, and your heart feels light. That is the life blueberries can help you build. Not alone, of course, but as part of a daily healing ritual that honors your mind. And here's the best part. Blueberries are accessible. They don't require a prescription. You don't need a specialist, you just need a decision to heal, to nourish, and to prioritize your cognitive health. Organic wild blueberries are best when available, as they contain higher concentrations of antioxidants. But even conventional blueberries carry the healing signature of nature. Try adding them to your morning smoothie. Mix them into oatmeal. Eat them as a snack instead of reaching for processed sugar or empty calories. Freeze them for a cool, brain-boosting treat in the summer. Dehydrate them for travel, or simply eat them fresh, slowly, mindfully, with gratitude. Let each bite be a small act of love, of healing, of transformation. And while you're doing this, while you're nourishing your brain with these incredible berries, something else begins to shift. Your awareness, your relationship with food. You start to ask deeper questions. What else can I eat to heal? What else can I change to feel better? And this curiosity becomes a journey of reclaiming your health, your joy, your potential. Because the truth is, you were not born to decline. You were not created to forget who you are. You were not designed to fade away. You were made to expand, to evolve, to awaken. And the path to that awakening begins with what you choose today. So choose healing. Choose nourishment. Choose blueberries. Let this be more than a snack. Let it be a statement. I am healing. I am whole. I am powerful beyond measure. Every day is another chance to restore your mind, to build a stronger brain, and to step into the life you were meant to live, with clarity, energy, and purpose. And that life, it starts now, with something so simple, so pure and so profound. A blueberry. Fatty fish, omega-3s, that rewire the mind. There's a quiet power hiding beneath the surface of the ocean, an ancient, natural force that has been nourishing the human brain for thousands of years. Before science ever gave it a name, before clinical trials ever measured its impact, nature wove this gift into the very fabric of marine life. And today, we know it as one of the most vital nutrients for the human mind. DHA, an omega-3 fatty acid that literally builds the brain. Imagine this. Your brain is not a fixed object, but a living, breathing organ constantly shaping and reshaping itself in response to the foods you eat, the emotions you feel, and the choices you make. Inside this soft, intricate structure are billions of neurons, tiny electrically charged messengers that allow you to think, dream, feel, and remember. And what are these neurons made of? What coats their membranes and keeps them flexible, responsive, and alive? DHA. It's the very fat that makes up nearly 30% of your brain's gray matter. That's how foundational it is. But in our modern world, so full of processed foods, artificial ingredients, and omega-6 overloads, we're starving the brain of its most basic nutrient. And we're paying the price. Brain fog, forgetfulness, anxiety, depression, fatigue. The symptoms creep in slowly, subtly, until one day you wake up and feel disconnected from your own mind. You forget names. You lose your train of thought mid-sentence. You struggle to focus on the simplest tasks. And beneath it all, a dull sadness, a sense that something's missing, something important. That something may very well be DHA. Studies show that low levels of omega-3 fatty acids, especially DHA, are strongly linked to accelerated brain aging, cognitive decline, and even neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's. But here's the empowering truth. Just as a lack of DHA can lead to mental decline, the right intake can reverse it. Your brain is not broken. It is simply undernourished, and it is waiting eagerly to be fed the fuel it needs to thrive. This is where fatty fish becomes more than food. It becomes medicine. It becomes transformation. Wild-caught salmon, sardines, mackerel, anchovies, and herring, these are not just meals. They are miracles. Because they're loaded with DHA in a form your body can absorb and utilize almost immediately. When you eat them, you're not just filling your stomach, you're rebuilding your brain one neuron at a time. It happens subtly at first. Maybe you wake up and feel a little more refreshed. Maybe you notice that the mental fog that used to follow you into every morning meeting has lifted. Your focus sharpens. Your thoughts become fluid. You feel present, alive, hopeful. And that hope isn't just emotional, it's biochemical. Because when your neurons reconnect, your potential reignites. And make no mistake, this isn't placebo. This is science. Clinical trials have shown that supplementing with omega-3s, especially DHA and EPA, can improve memory, attention, processing speed, and emotional well-being in both older adults and young children. One study found that just 6 months of omega-3 intake significantly improved executive function in aging adults. Another showed that children with attention issues showed measurable cognitive gains after incorporating fatty fish into their diets. That's because DHA doesn't just support the brain, it upgrades it. Inside your brain, DHA integrates into the cell membranes of neurons, making them more fluid and responsive. It enhances communication between cells, which is essential for learning and memory. It reduces inflammation, a key driver of brain aging, and increases cerebral blood flow. It even promotes the growth of new brain cells in areas like the hippocampus, the region responsible for memory and emotional balance. That means DHA doesn't just slow brain aging, it actively rewires the brain for clarity, creativity, and resilience. Can you imagine what that feels like? To wake up each day with a sense of mental energy you haven't felt in years. To sit down and actually focus, not struggle, on the things that matter most. To remember not just facts, but feelings. To feel emotionally stable, less reactive, more grounded. This is not an unreachable dream. It is a nutritional reality. And the key is as close as your next meal. But not all fish are created equal. The kind of fish you choose matters deeply. Wild-caught varieties are superior, especially cold-water fish like salmon, sardines, and mackerel. They're naturally high in omega-3s and low in contaminants like mercury and PCBs. Farmed fish, by contrast, often contain lower levels of DHA and may be exposed to harmful chemicals or fed unnatural diets. Always choose wild when you can. Quality matters, especially when it comes to your brain. If fresh fish isn't available or accessible to you, consider high-quality fish oil supplements sourced from wild-caught, sustainably harvested fish. Look for those that are third-party, tested for purity and high in DHA content. Krill oil is another excellent option, as its omega-3s are bound to phospholipids, making them easier for the brain to absorb. And here's something beautiful. Healing with fatty fish doesn't have to be complicated. A few servings a week can make a profound difference. Grill salmon and pair it with greens and avocado for a double dose of brain-loving fats. Add sardines to a salad or spread them on gluten-free toast with lemon. Enjoy a piece of wild-caught mackerel with roasted vegetables. These meals aren't just delicious, they're devotional, acts of self-care. Affirmations that say, "My mind is sacred, my clarity matters, I am worth this nourishment." As you make this shift, your relationship with food begins to change. You stop eating to fill a void. You start eating to feel vibrant, to feel powerful, to feel like yourself again. And that self, the one that's been buried beneath exhaustion, forgetfulness, and emotional heaviness, begins to rise. You remember your dreams. You reconnect to your purpose. You become more present with the people you love, all because you chose to heal the very organ that makes all other healing possible, your brain. Let us not forget how deeply our emotions are connected to our cognition. Low omega-3 levels have been linked not only to cognitive decline, but to depression, anxiety, and even increased risk of suicide. When your brain is undernourished, your emotional world becomes fragile. But when you give it the right fats, when you saturate your mind with the building blocks it craves, your mood stabilizes. Joy returns. Peace becomes more than a fleeting feeling. It becomes your baseline. This is the power of food, not just to sustain life, but to restore it, to recalibrate the deepest parts of you, the ones that think, feel, remember, and imagine. This is what fatty fish can do. This is what DHA can do. This is what you can do starting today. If you've ever felt hopeless about your mind, if you've ever feared the slow decline of your memory or doubted your ability to focus, please hear this. It is not too late. Your brain is not broken. It is waiting for you to choose healing, waiting for you to nourish it with intention, waiting for the right building blocks to arrive. And when they do, When you introduce DHA-rich fatty fish into your life consistently, the transformation begins. Slowly, powerfully, permanently. You don't just feel better. You think better. You become better. And from that place of clarity, strength, and inner peace, you live better. That is the promise of omega-3s. That is the gift of the ocean. That is the future your brain deserves. Let this be the moment you choose to reclaim it. Turmeric, the golden healer. There are moments in life when healing doesn't come from a bottle, a machine, or a lab. It comes from the earth. From a root so ancient, so revered that for thousands of years it was considered sacred, used not just for its vibrant color and earthy taste, but for the way it awakened the body and spirit from within. That root is turmeric, and at its core lies a miracle molecule, curcumin, a golden healer that holds the power to reignite the human brain. Science now validates what ancient traditions have known all along. Turmeric isn't just a spice. It's medicine for the mind. And not in some vague, feel-good, mystical sense, but in the measurable, microscopic, life-transforming sense. When you consume curcumin, the active compound in turmeric, it doesn't just pass through your body unnoticed. It enters your bloodstream, crosses the blood-brain barrier, and begins a healing process in the very core of your consciousness. Let's talk about BDNF, or brain-derived neurotrophic factor. This isn't just a fancy term. It's one of the most powerful proteins your brain can produce. Think of it as brain fertilizer. It stimulates the growth of new neurons, enhances existing ones, and protects your mind from degenerative decline. Low levels of BDNF are linked to depression, anxiety, Alzheimer's, and accelerated brain aging. But when curcumin enters your system, it stimulates the expression of BDNF, activating your brain's own inner healing intelligence. Imagine that. A single teaspoon of golden turmeric a day igniting a cascade of neurological regeneration. Think about what that means for you, not just in theory, but in your daily experience. You wake up and remember where you put your keys. You walk into a room and know why you're there. Your thoughts become crisp, your memory sharp, and your emotions resilient. You laugh more, worry less, and feel connected again to your purpose, your creativity, and your soul. Because this isn't just about neurons, it's about you. Who you are at your most alive, at your most awake. And turmeric can help you return to that version of yourself. Curcumin's power doesn't stop with BDNF. It also fights inflammation, the silent saboteur of your mental clarity. Chronic inflammation in the brain has been tied to everything from depression to dementia. It clouds your thinking, weakens your mood, and slowly degrades the communication between your brain cells. But curcumin acts like a fire extinguisher for inflammation. It reduces cytokines, blocks inflammatory pathways, and calms the immune responses that go haywire in the modern world. And here's the deeper truth. A calm brain is a creative brain. A nourished brain is a fearless brain. When inflammation fades, the storm clouds lift. That tightness in your chest softens. The overthinking slows. And in that stillness, your genius returns. Your sense of possibility expands. You begin to dream, again. Not just of getting through the day, but of thriving in it. Fully. Radiantly. With energy that flows from your core. Turmeric doesn't just heal, it restores, it resets, it rewires. And the science backs it up. Multiple studies have now shown that curcumin can improve memory and attention in just weeks. In one study, participants who took curcumin daily saw a 28% improvement in memory after 18 months. Imaging revealed less amyloid plaque buildup in their brains, a hallmark of Alzheimer's. In another trial, curcumin significantly reduced symptoms of depression and anxiety, performing as well as pharmaceutical antidepressants, but without the side effects. That's not hype, that's hope, grounded in evidence. And yet this healing miracle grows humbly beneath the soil. It doesn't shout, it doesn't advertise. It simply waits to be discovered, honored, and used with intention. The question is, will you answer that call? Because healing with turmeric isn't about adding one more thing to your to-do list. It's about creating a ritual, a moment of daily reverence where you say to your body, your brain, and your spirit, I care. I believe in your ability to heal. I trust nature more than noise. You don't need to do anything extreme. Start with just 1 teaspoon of high-quality turmeric daily. Mix it into warm almond milk with a pinch of black pepper to enhance absorption. Blend it into smoothies, stir it into soups, or take it as a supplement. Just be sure it includes piperine, from black pepper, or a liposomal delivery system to ensure it reaches your brain, and then watch. Watch what begins to shift, not just mentally but emotionally and spiritually. You'll notice that tasks feel less overwhelming, conversations feel richer, your sleep deepens, your anxiety fades, and underneath it all, this quiet confidence grows. A feeling that your mind is not slipping away from you but returning to you. You become less reactive and more reflective, less scattered and more soulful. And that's not coincidence. That's what happens when BDNF rises, inflammation falls, and neurons begin to bloom again. This is your brain on turmeric. But even more than the biological transformation, there's a sacred symbolism in turmeric that you begin to feel. In Ayurvedic medicine, turmeric is considered an elixir of life, balancing the mind, body, and spirit. In ancient rituals, it was used to bless, to purify, to awaken. And that's exactly what it still does today. It awakens something ancient inside you. A wisdom, a knowing, a truth. The truth that you are not destined for decline. The truth that your mind is not meant to be a foggy prison, but a clear cathedral. The truth that healing is not only possible, it's natural. You are not broken. You are blooming. And turmeric, this humble golden root, is one of your allies in that rebirth. So let today be the turning point. Let today be the moment you commit. Not out of fear, but out of love. Love for your brain. Love for your future. Love for the version of yourself that wants to remember, create, connect, and evolve. Let every golden spoonful be a declaration. I choose life. I choose clarity. I choose to wake up. Because when you support your brain, everything changes. Your relationships deepen. Your work improves. Your stress softens. Your spirit shines. You stop surviving. You start thriving. And that is the miracle of turmeric. 1 golden teaspoon, 1 revolutionary choice, 1 awakening brain at a time. Dark leafy greens. The mental reboot. There's something miraculous happening every time you reach for a bowl of leafy greens. It might seem simple. A salad on your plate, a handful of spinach in your smoothie, a few leaves of kale sautéed with garlic. But what you're truly holding is nature's most powerful mental reset. In that moment, you're not just eating vegetables, you're feeding the very essence of your cognitive future. You're planting seeds not in the soil, but inside your mind. Kale, spinach, Swiss chard. These are not just plants. They are bioactive powerhouses, rich with the intelligence of the earth and the nutrients your brain has been quietly begging for. Every cell in your brain, every neuron, every synapse is looking for direction, looking for nourishment, looking for the building blocks to remember, to focus. to feel joy, to imagine boldly again. And in the chlorophyll-drenched veins of dark leafy greens, it finds exactly that. These greens are overflowing with folate, vitamin K, lutein, and beta-carotene. But let's move beyond labels for a moment. Let's talk about what they do, how they change you from the inside out. Folate is more than a nutrient. It's a memory activator, a cognitive amplifier. It helps produce neurotransmitters like serotonin and dopamine, the very chemicals that allow you to feel happiness, peace, and clarity. When folate is deficient, your mood darkens, your motivation dips, and mental fatigue takes over. But when it's abundant, something almost magical happens. You feel uplifted. You remember names, dreams, and why you walked into the room. You feel yourself come back online. Vitamin K is not just for bones. It's a brain guardian. It reduces inflammation and supports the synthesis of sphingolipids, the essential fats that form the structure of brain cell membranes. Low levels of vitamin K have been associated with poor memory and accelerated cognitive decline. But when you feed your brain what it's craving, leafy greens brimming with K, you offer it the raw material to rebuild, to stabilize, to thrive. And then there's lutein. This antioxidant isn't just good for your eyes. It's been found to accumulate in the brain, especially in regions related to cognitive processing and emotional regulation. Lutein acts like a shield, protecting your brain from oxidative stress, the internal rust that steals your sharpness over time. The higher your lutein levels, the better your ability to process information, focus, and maintain a youthful mental edge. This isn't theory. This is science. A long-term study from Rush University in Chicago followed nearly 1,000 older adults for 5 years. Those who consumed just one serving of leafy greens a day had brains that functioned as though they were 11 years younger than those who rarely ate greens. Think about that. One serving, one salad, one handful of spinach. That's all it took to reverse the clock by over a decade. But here's the truth. This is not about age. It's about aliveness. Because you can be 70 and mentally radiant, or 30 and already fogging over. What matters is what you feed your brain. What matters is how you nourish your thoughts. And dark leafy greens are the most intelligent food you can choose. They don't just nourish the body, they awaken the mind. And the moment you choose to include them daily, even in the smallest amounts, you create a sacred ritual of healing. A ritual that says, I believe in my brain's ability to rebuild. A ritual that says, I choose clarity. I choose energy. I choose to rise. Because this is what leafy greens do. They lift you out of the haze, out of the slump, out of the spiral of forgetfulness, fatigue, and frustration. They are gentle, but mighty, quiet, but revolutionary. In a world overloaded with synthetic pills, stimulants, and quick fixes, dark leafy greens whisper a different story. A story of deep cellular healing. A story written in chlorophyll, minerals, and the memory of sun and soil. And when you begin to live by that story, your brain begins to change. You feel more present, less distracted. You look someone in the eye and truly see them. You read a page and retain what it says. You stop searching for your phone every 5 minutes because your brain isn't lagging, it's leading. You start to trust yourself again. You begin to remember your dreams, your values, your voice. You begin to reconnect. All because you chose to honor your brain with what it was designed to receive. The greens of the earth are not a trend. They are a return to your roots, to your rhythm, to your brilliance. So here's the invitation. Not just to eat greens, but to embrace them. To know them not as diet food, but as soul food. food that restores your memory, food that rewires your emotional circuitry, food that renews your belief in what's possible. You can start small. A spinach omelet in the morning, a kale and avocado salad for lunch, a side of sautéed Swiss chard with dinner, even just a green smoothie with almond milk and a banana. Simple steps, profound effects, because every time you chew those leaves, every time you taste that vibrant green, you are choosing healing. You are saying to your brain, you are worth it. I won't abandon you. I will feed you the life you've been waiting for. And your brain will thank you. With brighter thoughts, with clearer emotions, with ideas you forgot you had, with courage you forgot you carried. This is your moment. Right here. Right now. The past is over. The fog does not define you. You are not too late. You are not too broken. You are not beyond repair. You are ready. Ready to reclaim your mind. Ready to feed your brilliance. Ready to plant seeds of youth. Not just in your body, but in your identity. Because when your brain is nourished, you don't just live longer. You live louder. You speak with more conviction. You laugh from your gut. You show up for the people you love, not drained but lit from within. That is the gift of leafy greens. A mental reboot. A resurrection. A reminder that your best thinking, your most inspired ideas, your truest self, are not behind you. They are waiting for you. So eat the salad, drink the smoothie, sauté the chard. Do it not because you have to. Do it because you deserve to. You deserve a mind that is strong, sharp, and serene. You deserve thoughts that serve you, not sabotage you. You deserve a brain that believes in you. And you can build that brain, one leaf at a time. This is your reset, your renaissance, your return to clarity, vitality, and joy. Let every bite remind you, you are still growing, you are still becoming, you are still powerful. And it all begins on your plate. The green revolution doesn't start in the world. It starts in your kitchen. It starts in you. Walnuts, the brain-shaped superfood. Isn't it beautiful how nature leaves us clues? The walnut, crinkled, curved, and complex, bears an uncanny resemblance to the very organ it serves. It's as if the universe, in its divine intelligence, carved this nut in the image of the human brain to remind us of its sacred purpose. That's not a coincidence. That's a sign. A sign that healing doesn't have to be complicated, that the medicine we need is often growing in plain sight. Walnuts are more than a snack. They are a sacred act of self-respect, a daily ritual of nourishment, a gesture of saying, I care about my brain, I care about my memory. I care about the thoughts I think, the emotions I feel, and the clarity I live with. Inside every walnut is a symphony of bioactive compounds, polyphenols, vitamin E, folate, magnesium, and most importantly, alpha-linolenic acid, ALA, a plant-based omega-3 fatty acid. Together, these compounds form a kind of neuronutritional force field, protecting, enhancing, and activating your mental power. The ALA in walnuts has been shown to improve neuronal communication. Imagine that, eating a simple nut and improving the way your brain cells talk to each other. Thoughts move faster, memories form with greater clarity. Fog begins to lift. You don't just remember where you left your keys. You remember your goals, your voice, your sense of purpose. Polyphenols in walnuts are fierce warriors against inflammation. And what is inflammation really? It's the silent enemy of the mind. Chronic inflammation creates the mental quicksand that leads to forgetfulness, anxiety, emotional instability, and in the long term, neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's. But when you eat walnuts, you're not just stopping inflammation, you're reclaiming your mental fire. It's been said that the food you eat today becomes your brain tomorrow. That every bite is a brick in the architecture of your future mind. And walnuts? They are foundation stones. Research from UCLA found that individuals who regularly consumed walnuts performed significantly better on cognitive tests. Other studies show that eating walnuts consistently improves working memory, processing speed, and focus, especially as we age. Let that sink in. A handful of walnuts a day could keep your brain a decade younger. This isn't about trends. It's not about weight, loss, body image, or chasing quick results. This is deeper. This is about preserving the most powerful instrument you own, your mind. It's about feeding your ability to think clearly, feel fully, and connect meaningfully. You see, your brain is the headquarters of your life experience. It's where joy originates, where love blooms, where dreams are born and decisions are made. And too often we ignore its needs. We drown it in stress, starve it of sleep, clutter it with distraction, and then wonder why we feel disconnected. But the truth is, the healing starts when the feeding starts. Not just physical feeding, but intentional feeding. Choosing foods that carry life, foods that bring coherence, foods that bring you back to yourself. Walnuts are one of those foods. They are grounding, they are ancient, they are wise. And the moment you make them part of your daily rhythm, your brain begins to shift. You wake up a little more alert. You feel emotionally more balanced. You walk into conversations and remember what you meant to say. You begin to trust your cognition again, because when your brain is fed right, your whole life improves. You make better choices. You set stronger boundaries. You dream with more detail. You learn faster, speak clearer, feel more deeply. This is the walnut effect, and it is real, but it's not just about performance, it's about protection. Every day your brain is under siege, from environmental toxins, processed foods, psychological stress, and the wear and tear of aging. Left unchecked, this damage accumulates. But walnuts are like a mental insurance policy. They slow down the breakdown. They reinforce the myelin sheath that insulates your neurons. They preserve the hippocampus, your memory center. They reduce oxidative damage. And here's something powerful. They even support your gut. Why does that matter? Because your gut and your brain are in constant communication. An inflamed gut creates an inflamed mind. But the fiber and polyphenols in walnuts nourish the gut microbiome, leading to better serotonin production, improved mood, and sharper cognition. So yes, eating walnuts can literally make you happier. And isn't that the goal? To not just function, but feel good doing it. To walk through life with mental clarity and emotional vitality. To age not with fear, but with grace, knowing that your brain is still sharp, still curious, still alive. This is what's possible, but it takes a choice. A choice to see your brain not as a background character, but as the lead. A choice to see food not just as fuel, but as information, speaking directly to your DNA, your neurons, your spirit. And that's what walnuts do. They speak to your biology and say, heal, rebuild. Remember who you are. So let's talk practically. How do you integrate walnuts into your life? Start simple. A handful in the morning while journaling, meditating, or walking in nature. Crushed walnuts on your salad with olive oil and lemon. A few tossed into your oatmeal or Greek yogurt. Walnut butter on toast with a drizzle of raw honey. It doesn't have to be complicated, but it does have to be consistent, because healing is a habit. And when you make walnut consumption a part of your daily ritual, you give your brain the chance to thrive. Not just for a week or a month, but for years to come. So every time you hold a walnut in your hand, pause for a second. Look at it. See, the folds, the lobes, the architecture. See your own brain reflected in its shape. Then eat it. Not with distraction, but with reverence. Because this isn't just about nutrients. This is about reclaiming your mind. This is about saying yes to memory, clarity, and presence. This is about building a brain that can carry your dreams. Because when your mind is healthy, everything changes. You become more you. You remember your values. You stay centered in storms. You speak with authenticity and lead with wisdom. You don't just survive, you illuminate. So choose the walnut, not as a snack, but as a signal to your body, your brain, and your future. A signal that says, I will no longer neglect the most sacred part of me. A signal that says, I'm ready to rise into mental greatness. Because the best version of you, the focused, joyful, creative, resilient version is already within you, and the key to unlocking it might just be in the palm of your hand. The walnut, small, silent, sacred, a symbol of growth, of regeneration, of brain power made visible. Eat it daily and watch what unfolds, not just in your mind, but in your life. Because your brain was meant to shine. And this is your time to let it. You don't have to fear aging. You can fight it with knowledge, with love, and with food. Your brain was designed to evolve, to grow, and to heal. So take back control. Start today. Choose one food. Make one small change. Because healing begins with a decision, and you just made it. Subscribe, like, share. And remember, your best days aren't behind you, they're inside you, waiting to be unlocked.